Hey, this is Gina Grad.
Hi, this is Teresa Strasser.
Hi, everyone. This is Mike Errico.
Hey there. This is Casey Cavalier.
I'm Rocky Rose.
And you are listening to The Jay Franzi Show.
Lucky you.
Welcome to The Jay Franzi Show. A behind-the-curtain look at the entertainment industry with insights you can't pay for and stories you've never heard. Now, here's your host, Jay Franzi.
And we are coming at you live. I am Jay Franzi, and joining me tonight, the Judy to my George, my beautiful co-host, Miss Tiffany Mason.
Good evening, Jay.
There you go. If you are new to the show, this is your source for the latest news, reviews, and interviews. So if you would like to join in, comment, or fire off any questions, please head over to jfranzi.com. And as we say, if you feel froggy and would like to join our circus here, please head over to jfranzi.com/live. You can join us. You can ask questions. You can make comments. You can make fun of us. We don't care. All right, my friend, before we get started, let's just discuss what the question of the day is so I don't forget yet again. Question of the day, best male vocalist of all time.
Ooh,
all time.
I didn't realize it was of all time.
Think about it now. Think.
Oh, I had about 9 people.
No answers yet. Keep that in mind.
Okay, guys, whatever you guys wrote down for your list that you brought to tonight's show, start narrowing it down.
Of all time. All right. I thought we would start a little different this week because this week is my daughter's birthday. My daughter Bella just turned 15 years old.
Woohoo.
Very impressive that I've been able to keep something alive for 15 years. But yes, 15 years old. Very happy for her. She's had a very good birthday. It's been a great time. We still have cake. Can't beat that. But that inspired me to think about, well, what else has happened on this day in history and who else was born? So we've got a couple birthdays I would like to acknowledge. Back in 1939. 39. That's older than I am. Marvin Gaye.
What?
Now, you didn't think Marvin Gaye was that old, did you?
No, I didn't, actually.
See, I see some of these dates, and I'm like, holy cow. Yes, Marvin Gaye, this day, 1939. And then in 1947, Emmylou Harris. Really?
Do you have a crickets button?
I do have a crickets button. It's not even worth finding for that. I cannot believe that. That's so disappointing.
What is the name?
Emmylou Harris.
Why would I know this person?
Famous singer-songwriter.
Oh.
You, my friend, need to do some homework. Also, this day in history,
Harris, pen to paper.
John Lennon, his 12-year-old drawings were recognized and put into a school book.
Okay.
Apparently he
John Lennon.
had drawings when he was 12 years old. Put into a school book. Who knew?
That crap becomes valuable once you become famous. So they dug deep and found some artwork. Speaking of which, Jay, do you have any artwork from when you were 12?
You know, I probably do somewhere. Are we ready to put it on the auction blog? Is that the point we're at?
Yes.
Is that the point that the show's at?
Yes.
George, my friend, if you are here tonight, please get on that. Yeah, yep, George is here. George is in the house.
Add it to our Wikipedia.
So let's add that to our Wikipedia and let's get that going. Let's put some of my old 12-year-old artwork on sale. What? Sotheby's, Christie's?
Does paper that old keep well?
Does it keep well? My wife is an archivist, so therefore we should be able to do something.
Oh, right. Okay, this is true. Whew,
oh, I love you like a bad rash, my friend. Mariah Carey, this day in history, 2001, signs the biggest record deal in history.
Oh, interesting. 2001, that's really not that long ago.
It is not that long ago, and she is not all that old. She was 31 years old at the time. She signed a deal with Virgin Records worth how much?
$8.2 million.
$8.2 million.
That's my guess.
You're low.
Oh my goodness.
You're low by a
Telling me.
lot.
I should have went with billion.
No, definitely that would have been too high. 60 million.
Holy crap.
The singer had
And they
sold
say
over
people aren't making money in the
120
music industry.
million records.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And let's see, 2001, I mean, we were streaming by then.
Were we
Yeah.
streaming by then? If we were, it was like Napster or something, because the iPhone didn't even
Right,
come into
yes,
play until
yes.
2007.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like Napster and stuff. I'm trying to think because Preston was born in 2000.
See, I produced a record in Nashville
Maybe
in
not yet.
the early 2000s, and it went on to mp3.com and a few other places, but it eventually hit number one in the world country charts. And the sad part about that, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but the sad part, I produced this record for this folk country style singer in Nashville, a woman named Marie Martin. And I wrote 9 of the 10 songs on her record. So sat down, wrote 9 of the 10 songs. She wrote the 10th. The 10th is the one that
songwriter,
went to number
Jay.
1.
Hers?
Hers, the one she wrote, went to number 1. The ones I wrote, I was just the fluffer. So there you go.
Well, we were talking before in the green room before we came on about sprucing up our lips with our chapstick and our lip gloss.
Way too early to be taking a left. Way too early to be taking that kind of left.
I mean, you said you were the fluffer.
Oh, the Black Crowes. Black Crowes in 1999, the year that I moved to Nashville and started working, they were sued. They played a concert in Knoxville, Tennessee, and they were sued by a young man for $5,000. Why $5,000? I have no idea. That seems awful low.
Thought he was really taking him for a ride.
He was claiming that he had significant hearing loss.
It's like the person who went to McDonald's and got hot coffee and then were pissed off that they got
They made a hell of a lot
burned by
more
the
than
hot coffee.
$5,000, didn't they?
Yeah. Wow. If I lost my hearing or if I had my hearing affected, it'd be worth more than $5,000 to me.
1990, Eric Clapton got a speeding ticket for going 105 miles an hour. Eric's got a lead foot. He might be.
I think so.
He might be slow at the guitar, but he's fast in the car.
That's what I was trying to think of some funny joke like that because I was thinking his music's kind of slow, but I was like, not on the road.
Well, he's got the nickname of Slowhand.
Oh.
1990, Nirvana. They went into the studio to record, of all places, Madison, Wisconsin.
Wah, wah. Okay.
Bob Dylan
Blow
released.
my mind.
Blow your mind?
Blow my mind.
I'm skipping Bob Dylan because that's not going to blow your mind. Bye, Bob. 1977. Ooh, there's a few things that happened in 77, but I'm going to start with Frank Sinatra. He scored his 4th number 1 album
Okay. That's the
this
year my
day
sister
in
was born.
1977 for songs from The Life of the Man. It consisted of 40 songs that were recorded for Reprise Records. Who knew?
Way to go, Frank.
Good for Frank. Frank is going to come up later in our list. I'm certain of it as being one of the greatest singers of all time.
He's on my list.
See? I don't want to know your list yet. But Frank Sinatra, he's going to be one of the best. If nothing else, he had some of the best phrasing ever in music. He was able to really hold a rhythm and have really good phrasing. Band of your liking, Fleetwood Mac, this day in 1977. They went to number 1 with the release of Rumors.
Doesn't shock me.
Later went on for Grammy-winning album of the year in 1978. You know the Bay City Rollers? Nope, you are disappointing me all over.
Jay.
They went to number 1 this day in 1975.
Why would I know the Bay City Rollers? Why would
Very
anybody?
popular band. Bye Bye Baby.
Okay.
All right. Janis Joplin, 1971, also had a number 1 hit in U.S. album charts.
Is springtime a time where a lot of albums come out? Is there actually a time of year when the most get released?
It's a good question. I would say this time of year is probably a good one right before the summer. People want that summer hit. That's always been a big thing. Then in the fall, people release it because they want to pick up on the Christmas rush. I'm sure there's other reasons, but those are the two I know of.
Okay.
Here's one that strikes me as odd. 1969. I don't know why I don't remember this. I was born in 1969. Bruce Springsteen, his first group, Child. I didn't know he had a first group.
I didn't either.
They made their live debut in New Jersey in 1969 on this day.
How old is Springsteen?
He's old. He's older than I am, for sure.
He is one of those people that just stays the same age in my head.
Yeah, but if you look at him he's not the same age, for sure.
He's just stuck in his 40s and for me.
Elvis Presley, 1955, was on TV in Louisiana.
It's probably a big deal, though, back then. TV doesn't seem like a big deal to us now, but in
Right.
55...
Back then it was a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
Not only that, but that was probably closer to the start of his career. When did Elvis start? I know it ended in I guess it ended in the early 70s.
I think the 50s is when he started.
Do we want any more? One more?
Yep, one more.
1964, the Beach Boys. They recorded their next single, which went to number 1. It was called I Get Around.
So his career took off in 56. So that would be right before his career took off.
So I would guess
If
that
he
would be
was
an
in
impressive thing
55.
for him to make his debut appearance on television.
I wonder if it was on the Ed Sullivan Show. I should have looked.
It does not say. I'm going to guess if it's in Louisiana, it was not.
Became a number 1 hit and regained national attention through television appearances, including the Ed Sullivan Show. But
Yeah.
that was in 56.
That was his big one.
So it
That's the
says
one
that
where
his
he got
record
yelled at for
contract
being-
came out in 55.
For moving his hips.
For gyrating.
For gyrating.
That's what the ladies liked.
There you go. All right.
Okay, what'd you say about the Beach Boys? I
Really?
blew over it. I just missed it. Yeah. Yeah, come back.
Beach Boys recorded
Revisit.
their next single, I Get Around. It went to number 1. It went to number 1 in the summer of this year of 1964. They recorded their
summer
single,
song.
I Get Around, on this day, and then it made it to number 1 that summer. So there you go.
Shock.
That's what
Just
we're talking
it
about.
proves the theory.
Proves
Yeah.
the theory.
Proves the theory that we were talking about, Jay.
There you go.
Well, we have Kenny Chesney, and he's being inducted to the Country Music Hall of Fame alongside the late June Carter Cash and esteemed producer Tony Brown. Did you ever meet Tony Brown?
I did, yes, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Not only one of the world's best producers, but a great piano player.
Oh, well, there you go. We would never know that normally.
He is truly one of the world's best producers. I mean, he's somebody in Nashville who's been producing records for years. I mean, laundry list of records.
Yeah.
One of the best, specifically Nashville. He's done most of his stuff in Nashville.
Maybe was it Bob Bullock, actually? Were you telling us that Bob started out in L.A. and they asked him to move to Nashville
Yeah.
to work on some projects? Okay, so it was him.
He was working in L.A., and he was working at a studio called Lion Share. And Lion Share was Kenny Rogers' studio. And when Kenny Rogers came in and heard the music that Bob was recording and working on there, that's when Kenny Rogers was moving to Nashville. So he requested that Bob come with him and record his records, which he did. He ended up moving to Nashville and recording the records. Neither one of them left. They stayed there.
Yeah. See, your stories are very stuck in my brain. See, I mean,
I thought you were going to say
Halfway.
useless, but I guess stuck in your brain is better.
yeah. But is that a common thing where producers will produce in both, or even, I guess, Atlanta's kind of, I feel like Atlanta is like up and coming or has been up and coming or whatever. I feel like it's another mecca. So do they tend to produce in multiple locations? Could you, as a producer, say, I want to produce this record in LA in that studio, or do you have to stay in your own studio? Do they have contract deals? Like, how does that work exactly?
You can absolutely go wherever you want to record the record.
As a producer?
As a producer, you can choose where you want to go. But obviously, budget's going to depend on how you do that as well.
Sure.
In the days of the Bob Bullocks and those records that they were producing, those were very large budgeted projects. These days, you don't get that same budget to produce a project, so there's no way you're going to, move a crew of people. But I know Bob worked with Mutt Lange, who's one of the best producers in the world, and they did Shania Twain's records, and they went down to the Bahamas to record it. And, Bob's got some amazing stories, but this is right before I worked for Bob, so I did not get to go to the Bahamas or work with Shania Twain. Thanks, Bob. However, yes, they chose to go to the Bahamas for that. Most people stick in their lane. So Nashville is typically known for country music, and most people stay in those studios. They work with the session players who are union musicians in Nashville. So things are done very strict in a very business type manner. Where LA is typically more of the rock pop stuff. It's done, a little bit differently. But those people, you might get one or two that might straggle to a Nashville session, but most of them will stay in LA. And then Atlanta, it's more of the hip hop type stuff. There are some rock bands from Atlanta, but most of it is a hip hop style music scene. And those people aren't going to come to Nashville. And Nashville people typically aren't going to go to Atlanta.
Interesting. That makes sense. Yeah. I feel like there was a story maybe with Taylor Swift doing the same thing where some were in Nashville and some were in LA, but I think that that's more common than an artist will do that versus a producer.
Yeah, I mean, she might be going to work with different style of producers. Like when she was doing her country record, it was recorded in Nashville. When she's doing her pop stuff, it's probably recorded in LA.
Yep.
And then when she's working with collaborations that might involve a hip hop artist or something, maybe they do it in Atlanta.
Yeah, interesting. That makes sense. Okay, well, next on my list is Co Wetzel and Jesse Murph's High Road. And I love this song. Although I like the country version. I was thinking it was that Co Wetzel, but it's not. Because Jelly Roll has a like a rapping part of it or whatever. Anyway, my sister and my niece and my mom came down this past summer and they introduced me to Jessie Murph. And I love her voice. It's very raspy. But she says a lot of swear words. So, can we lay off the swear words? So whenever I can find the clean version.
Which always makes me laugh when you say that. Of all people, when you say you need people to lay off, and then you take these extremely hard lefts, just makes me crack up.
What the fuck are you talking about, Jay? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. I just feel like it's just not necessary, I guess, all the time. Like that wasn't necessary. But I do love this song so much. And it starts out like they're having an argument, and it's kind of like the final argument. They're just like so mad at each other, and they've been unfaithful to one another, or there's at least rumors that they've been unfaithful to one another. And then in this version, Jelly Roll comes on and he does this whole rapping part, and he's talking about being addicted to the hard style of life and how Bunny's his Harlequin, and it's just like a super cute part. And then Jessie Murph comes back in. And I don't know, I love the song. So we have a routine or whatever, per se, that we listen to Wild Ones by Jessie Murph. And that gets me all amped up, okay? Like, she's saying how she's addicted to, like, these wild card guys, these, like the bad boy kind of. And so she's talking about that.
Imagine that, a woman likes the bad boys.
I know, it's weird. I've never heard that storyline before, so I think that's why it sticks with me. It's so intriguing, So that's what's going on. And then, am I getting it mixed up?
Most likely.
Yes, I am getting it mixed up. Okay, so Wild Ones is where Jelly Roll has the rapping part. Okay, right. And so she's talking about being addicted to the bad boy type. And then Jelly Roll comes in and talks about just a hard life. Anyways, it's great. And then the High Road one is about the couple and them doing each other wrong, and how he's like, you know what? I'm not going to hang around for you to have your little freak out. Like, just go nuts. But I'm not going to hang out while you do that. And you're not going to take me under with you. And I just love it that he's like sticking it to her. But because I always listen to those two songs together, I got them mixed up, which is pretty. Yeah. I know you're surprised by that. So,
Wait, before you move on.
yes.
I missed this earlier, but it's worth bringing back. George, you two already have me laughing. Emmylou Harris is amazing. Imagine if Tiffany knew that. And then
I am not old
Kenny
enough to
says
have the
greetings.
experience that you guys have.
Really? Is that what it is? I want to point out you're
definitely
only
what
a
it
year
is.
behind us. Okay, fine. Maybe a decade, but still, it's only one.
Yes, greetings, Mr. Kenny. All right. Well, next on the list that I was going to point out is Luke Combs. He's prepping for Stagecoach 2025 with a new set list. He is hinting at surprises for his upcoming festival headline slot. So he must be talking about something that he wants to perform, that it's like a tease, like you guys won't believe what's coming. So you got to come out, got to come to the concert, buy the ticket so you can hear it.
No.
What do you think that means?
Hold on, I'm looking because I thought, what's the date on that show? Do you know?
It just says Stagecoach 2025. Let me
Yeah,
see
I
if
was
I can
looking.
pull
I
it up for
thought
you.
Presley Tennant was on that, but I'm not sure.
Oh. There is also Miranda Lambert signs major deal with Republic Records. I wonder if it was, what was her, 60 million? I wonder if it was $60 million or more.
Yeah,
It might be. It might be a couple bucks more than that. With joint venture with Big Loud. She's shaking up the industry. Do you know Big Loud?
is it Big Loud or is it Loud?
Well, they both have capital letters, so I think it's Big Loud.
Then no, I don't know. Big
Makes it a
Loud.
proper noun.
Let's find out. Big Loud Records. Big Loud is an American independent multi-sector entertainment company located in Nashville.
And that is why it's shaking it up, because it's independent.
But you said it was also with Republic?
Oh yeah, with Republic Records.
My guess
Announced
is
this week.
she signed a new record deal, probably lost the major record deal she had, and has now signed an indie record deal, and she'll be touring and promoting stuff with that deal. If I
got
were a
it.
betting
Okay.
man, that's what I would say.
Are you a betting man, Jay?
In this case, I think I would I would bet my center testicle.
Oh God.
Don't ask.
3?
It's a long story. But yes, I think. Anyway, moving on up.
You talk about me taking a left. Why is my face more red than my shirt?
Nice. Anywho, my guess is she has been around long enough and probably hasn't had anything major going on. Probably lost her major record deal, and now has made another deal with these companies, out promoting probably a new record, I would hope, and going on tour to support.
George says I'm covering my eyes. I think you should cover your ears.
Yeah. In this case,
I think it's your ears, George, that you need to cover.
Kenny, oh my God, you have a third nut?
Oh, he do, but it's not a nut. Oh, my God. Okay, well. Kelsey Ballerini and Noah Kahan. Now, if you guys are listening and you're shouting at the radio that it's not Kahan, let me know, because my daughter thinks it's Noah Khan, and I think that she's more up on things. But also, is she up on the phonics? I don't know.
It's Khan.
It is?
It's Khan. I am almost certain it's Khan, but I'm going to, you know what I'm
I
going
like
to do?
Kahan better.
It's not Kahan.
I do like it better.
No.
Anywho, he and Kelsey Ballerini have a new duet. Cowboys Cry 2. And so I went...
It's Khan.
I was thinking...
But I just made this thing read it to me and it said Kahan. Siri, I don't like you tonight.
It's Kahan. There's an A there. Is the H silent?
Of course, yes.
I saw a meme on Facebook and it said, I have a flat stomach, but the L is silent. Okay, sorry.
I like that. That works.
So we're
Yes,
saying
Kenny,
the
I
age
just
is
want to
silent.
point out when your little emojis there, think of the first one as being normal, and then the second one is what happens when you get kicked in it. Moving
Oh my
on
God.
up to
East side. I finally found a piece of the pie.
and now we just lost the rest of our listeners.
Guys, don't go. Okay, Eric Church's, we talked about Eric Church last episode. Hands of Time strikes chord with traditionalists. Church's latest single climbs to the top 20, pleasing purists. I have not heard Hands of Time. Okay, really quick, I want to go back and revisit Kelsey Ballerina and Noah Kahan. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up is that I like Noah Kahan a lot. I like his like folky
You're just going to
kind
keep
of
saying it
style.
like that, aren't you?
I definitely am, because that's how I learned it, and phonetically
You might
that's
be
what it looks
right,
like.
but I'm telling you, I swear it's Con.
The masses are saying Khan, but until Noah calls me personally and says Tiffany,
Noah, give us a call, buddy. jfrenzy.com/live. Join us. Let us know.
that's the only way I'm going to pronounce it the way that you non-phonetical speakers
George.
are trying to tell me.
Let's make you our field producer for the night. Can you figure out how to pronounce Noah Kahan's last name? He
See?
says Kahan.
Kenny says Kahan
Kenny
as
says
well.
but Kenny is not our field producer. Sorry,
Okay,
Kenny.
well,
if you're going to agree with
Everybody
Tiffany,
who's listening,
if you're agreeing with Tiffany, you don't get a title. Sorry.
it's okay, Kenny. You can be my personal producer. Okay, so we can go back to Eric Church. Oh, he was just looking it up. Okay, we interrupted George in the middle of his research for us. Okay, so let's move on. Linkin Park's From Zero tour kicks off with sold out LA show.
Why is that important?
You tell me, Jay. You tell me. I'm going to start setting you up for questions you don't know the answer to.
I don't mean it to be something you don't know the answer to, but it's important for a very particular reason. Because
Tell me now.
Chester, their lead singer, he's no longer with us. He's passed away.
Okay.
Okay, and they have a new lead singer. So that's why this
Okay.
is important. So this
Yeah.
is a new lead singer, so it's been a long time since they lost Chester. I believe Chester took
Okay.
his life in 2017. So it's been a long time since they've performed.
Yeah.
But they have a new singer now. Why is that such a big deal? It's because it's a woman. What? So they have a woman singer now. I don't know if you know much about Linkin Park, but Chester was the one who did the screaming. So there was two
Okay.
singers, and Chester was the one who really belted out and was the one singing. So now Emily is the one who is now belting out the screaming and stuff. Emily Armstrong. So that's
Very
why it's big.
cool.
Though. That's all.
That is a big deal. It's a big deal for fans to support them, knowing that the way that they, appreciated the music was from a male's voice, and now it'll be a female instead. So it makes me think of Les Zeppelin a little bit.
There
Where
go.
people
Look
are
at you.
expecting that.
Making connections with the
I
callback.
retain.
Dear God, look at us.
I retain. I know you don't think I do, but I'm on it. Speaking of recall, do you remember the episodes where we talked about Green Day?
I do. Green Day. They were engineered by Chris Lord-Alge.
Yes. Well, their American Idiot turns 20, and they're doing a deluxe reissue. So it's been remastered with unreleased tracks. So if you
Multiple
thought you knew
Grammys.
all the deep tracks, nope.
That's something. When people say, unreleased tracks, do you think they were any good? Because if they were good in the first place, wouldn't they have made the record?
Well, wasn't there an episode where we talked about when a song is released, and sometimes the audience is ready for it and sometimes they're not? So these 20-year-old songs, they have decided
We might be
we're
ready for
now
them.
ready for them.
Back in the 70s, we had the concern over whether or not you could put so many songs on a record because we were limited by time.
Right.
So, and it came out to roughly 5 songs per side of an album. So you'd end up with a 5 or 6 song on each side to have a 10 or 12 song album. These days,
Yeah.
you don't have those limitations. So Green Day certainly did not have those limitations. However, that would have been a reason as well.
Yeah. Yep. Good point. I never thought about that, but I have heard of that before, that they you had to pick songs based on that. Now, do you know of, were there ever like, would you cut a song because you're like, oh, we're at 58 minutes, but we only have 56 minutes. Were you like, switch out this song then? Or do you just cut a verse? Or how do you make that right?
Yeah, people have done that. When you master an album, part of the art of mastering is the order of the song, the selection.
Yep.
So you would try to open up with a hard-hitting song. Then you might have your radio single come in second. Then you might have a slow song. And then you might kind of repeat that pattern throughout the play of the album. Mm-hmm. However, when you had an actual physical album, a wax album, you had songs that might have been able to handle a little bit more bass in them, had to be up front. They couldn't be at the end of the album. As the album got smaller, the actual physical circle, the diameter of that circle would get smaller.
Oh, what? The diameter. Okay, okay, yes, got it. Okay, so the heavy bass songs had to be.
And not only that too, but heavy bass songs could actually make the needle of a record jump. So if something was too heavy or it contained too much, that needle could jump out of the groove and be a poor listening experience. So some people used to tie like nickels or on top of the needle to hold the needle down into place.
Interesting.
It's kind of like putting cinder blocks in your trunk in the winter to hold your tires down for better traction. You put in nickels or quarters on top of your needle to hold it down. So when
I've literally never heard of that before.
Again, you were not doing this in the 70s. Now, granted, I wasn't doing it in the 70s either, but
yeah. Did they make the arm with the needle? Did they make that more heavy? Is that why?
You know, I never saw them do that, but it would have been a solution. But yeah, making records was definitely an art form. If you ever look back at like some of the early days, like with the Beatles and stuff, the engineers were wearing white lab coats because they were actual real engineers. They weren't going in there to be artists. They were going in there to assist the artist create something that needed to be technical. So the engineers were very technical people. They weren't creative people. And as time went on, the engineers became more and more creative and eventually shed the lab coat.
Okay, that is super intriguing. I never thought of that, but that makes total sense. All right, guys, we are learning a lot here. Let's see what Jay can tell us about the Arctic Monkeys. They begin recording their 7th album in London. So that's exciting. Fans looking for new music.
That is exciting for the simple fact that it's my daughter's favorite band. Definitely one of her favorite bands anyways. But I took her to see them in Nashville, and they were actually very good. However, she was very disappointed. At the end of that tour, they said they were done, that they weren't going to continue anymore. So the fact that they have a new album coming out would then typically be followed up with they're going to go on the road and support it. So
fun.
That's exciting for her.
I see an Arctic Monkey concert in your future, Jay.
Yeah. I don't know if I can handle another one. One was fine with me. It's the type of music they have one or two songs that I can listen to and feel okay with. But it's a very distinct sound of rock music that I'm just not a fan of.
Okay. Well, maybe your wife can take them next time.
There you go.
Okay, next up, we have Pearl Jam wraps up Dark Matter tour with an emotional Seattle finale. Eddie Vedder bids farewell to the road for now with a hometown show. So they must be from Seattle.
Must be from Seattle. You kill me.
I'm putting 2 and 2 together here, Jay. I came up with 4.
It just cracks me up when you say things like, you don't know that. How can you not know that?
No.
He's probably one of my more favorite of the grunge bands. Pearl Jam was.
Is he going to be your pick for your top male vocalist?
No, not even close. But you know what he would be? He would be a distinct voice. Going back to our previous episodes yet again, I would say that Eddie Vedder definitely has an extremely distinct voice.
Yes. In the comments, Kenny is saying that he wears a lab coat, and I would guess so because I went on to Kenny's LinkedIn, And turns out he's got a very smart brain, and he does wear a lab coat for
Kenny's
his job.
curing cancer.
Pretty important stuff there, Kenny.
He's impotent.
He's impotent. You impotent, Kenny. We appreciate you. And then maybe you want to wrap up with AC/DC's Power Up Tour hits Cleveland. Finale giveaway. The Rock Titans launch a contest for fans to win tickets to their last show. I love me some AC/DC.
Okay, AC/DC's good. They're considered like the quintessential rock band. Now, to be fair, you can hear any AC/DC song, and you know what it sounds like? The next AC/DC song.
It's true. That's true. That's
they
fair.
have found a groove, and they have stuck to it. But it's a good groove. It's biker metal or biker rock.
Yeah.
You know, you being near Daytona, that would be the music of choice in that area, during Bike Week for sure.
Oh,
But Cleveland, I'm wondering if they chose that location based on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I don't know.
That would be interesting to know.
If AC/DC is listening, can you please let us know?
Please.
We need to hear from Noah Kahan and
jfranzi.com/live.
AC/DC.
Yeah, it says the tour hits the U.S. in Cleveland for the final or the finale or final giveaway. Their last hurrah, their last show.
The E on the end is finale.
Finale.
It's a finale.
I don't know. You also said Kahan.
Because phonetics. It's
Phonetics.
Sometimes it's genetics, and this time it's phonetics.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I have a friend, Jason Sircone, podcaster, but his name's Jason Sircone with an E at the end of it. And the lady in the phone pronounces it Siccone. Mine has the E at the end of it, and she pronounces it France. So his is Sircone, mine is Franzi, but yet somehow.
Do you have the American person speaking it, or do you have a different voice tone?
I have the default.
Oh, I have a South African, yeah. South African.
You need an accent when you have your phone talk to you.
That's my favorite accent is the South African accent. So when I figured it out, I was like, wait, what? I can have my lady talk to me in South African accent? Yes, please. And I think I'm going to start watching Pulse. It is a hospital
Gay
show
nightclub
set
in Orlando.
It is not. It is not.
It is.
That'd be my second
was.
choice. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And actually, I had somebody come to the coffee cart. I said, "Oh, where are you guys from?" And they said Parkland, and I was like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
About that. Yeah. Unfortunate.
Very much so. It's been brought up in the news quite a bit lately because they have video footage that was never released because it would have shown that the nightclub is at fault for barricading some of the doors in the building that people could have escaped from. Oh. So they had like this freezer that somebody was found snuggled up against it trying to protect themselves. That if that freezer wasn't there, they couldn't move the freezer. And if it wasn't there, it was blocking a door that they could have escaped from.
That's too bad. That's sad.
Recent news. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actual news.
It's too bad. Actual news. Not finale versus final or Kahan versus Khan.
Yeah. It said last show nonetheless.
Yeah.
So last show. Okay, so if it's the last show.
I think it's their last tour.
Yes, but does it end in Cleveland? It sounds as if it ends in Cleveland.
I think it ends in Cleveland.
At the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, possibly? Are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Or are they being nominated at all?
Inducted?
AC/DC. Induction ceremony was in 2003, just to close the brain loop on that for anybody.
So they were already inducted.
They were inducted in 2003. Question of the day, best male vocalist of all time. All right, yep. This is going to be a big one. Kenny, sir.
Get ready to fight.
George, start putting them in there. George, I see you got a few in there already. Anybody else out there entertaining us tonight, please go ahead and put yours in there as well.
What is George setting up? Oh, a LinkedIn profile. After the Wikipedia page.
Oh, George, you're too much. All right. I'm going to go through our list. Before we get started, I feel it's only right to start off with mine. This is a tough one, but best male vocalist of all time, prove me wrong, would be Steve Perry. Actually
I will not prove
nicknamed
you wrong.
The Voice. That man has a vocal range and is able to sing the phone book and sounds silky smooth. Best vocalist of all time, hands down. We could probably stop here. But we won't. I'll give you the opportunity to try to prove me wrong.
I don't know who I could pick.
Well, pick somebody.
Well, I really can't choose.
The build-up for this is fantastic. Do I have a
I'm not
drum
trying
roll?
to be dramatic. Well, I'm trying to think of, complexity. Oh, God.
Did that help? Did that bring it to the forefront? Try it again.
That put more pressure on me.
Would you like me to read a few comments first?
Yes, let's do that.
Would that help take some of it off of you? All right.
Well, I literally have like 10 people, so I can mark a couple off.
Well, let's go with George. George's first comment says, Ray Price. His voice is smooth and clean. He also says Randy Owen and Ray Price. All right. Well, I mentioned Steve Perry, and Michael says, ever? Question mark, question mark, question mark. He says, well, Steve Perry, obviously, he needs to be part of this conversation. I agree with you, Michael. Very good. But then he says you could also consider Freddie Mercury or Frank Sinatra. Again,
Okay.
This is a very difficult conversation. There are many that could be in the running.
I agree with that.
So I replied to him, and I said, I agree. Steve Perry would be the ultimate choice. However, if we wanted to go for a couple more, I would say that Jeff Tate. Now, who is Jeff Tate, Miss Tiffany?
Don't fire me.
Tiffany, you're fired.
Only because we've discussed it several thousand times. Jeff Tate, the lead singer of
Jeff
Queensryche.
Tate.
So I said to Michael, yes, I agree that Steve Perry would be my vote for sure. However, Jeff Tate or Brad Delp. You know Brad Delp.
Tiffany, you're fired. Goodbye.
Brad Delp, lead singer of the band Boston.
Okay.
Okay, so amazing, amazing singers. That would be my style of singer for sure. Steve Perry, Jeff Tate, Brad Delp. And then Michael replied back. And he says, Brad Delp, all caps, yes.
Oh.
And then he says, well, Jeff Tate, that opens another door or another can of worms. He says, so how about Don Dokken?
Oh.
Don Dokken, lead singer of the band Dokken. As you can see, this is a very difficult conversation.
Well, it is because it's like, well, what genre? So honestly, I'm not going to impress you with this. I'm not going to impress anybody with this. So
Well,
I don't even want
again,
to say it.
We're just talking who you think is the best.
Well,
You can
it's
pick
a
anybody
two-way
you
tie
like.
for different genres. But I picked Josh Groban.
I don't know who that is.
So he's like a opera singer. He's not actually opera, but he sings like some of the Polar Express songs, and he's like vocally trained. It's more professional in a professional setting than
Right.
like a band or like radio. I mean, he
know what?
has radio songs, but
Opera singers are some of the best in the world by far, so I wouldn't rule
Yeah.
that out.
So that was my first person that I wrote down before I searched anything, whatever. Okay, now out of all of the people on my paper.
You're not supposed to search who you think is the best singer in the world. You're just supposed to think who you think it is.
Okay, well, I thought of 9 other people.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give us another one?
Okay, if I had to go on somebody I actually really thought of on my own was Sam Cooke.
All right.
That was somebody I thought of on my own. Josh Turner was somebody I thought of on my own. Because of the low, I just like him. It's not really, I don't really know if he's got a lot of talent.
So it's not that he can sing at all. I just like the guy.
No, he can sing. But, he sings that Big Black Train song. There's a Long Black Train. That's what it is, Long Black Train. But Frank Sinatra would have been my other. So I put little dots next to Frank Sinatra and Josh Groban. But I didn't come up with Frank Sinatra out of my head. But most of the Christmas songs that I have on my Christmas playlist are Frank Sinatra, among a lot of other Frank Sinatra songs. But just saying that I do actually know his music. And yeah.
All right.
And I also think that they are from a time period where you had to actually be able to sing. And Frank Sinatra's version of singing, it's very vocal forward, right? So you can't hide the stuff that, like, in bands you can hide some imperfections. The vocal's there, but the band is very much a part of what you're hearing, opposed to Frank Sinatra, where it was, like I said, I feel like more vocal forward.
Especially back at that time, or even in the earlier days of rock before you ended up with digital equipment where you could tune vocals and do all those things. Mm-hmm. I've seen some producers in the studio do some pretty amazing things to make vocals sound better. Like they'll play the same note on a guitar and have the guitar hold that note, and you think it's the vocalist. So I mean, I've seen some pretty cool stuff.
Oh, that's impressive. Yeah. Sometimes I do wonder, how do they hold the note so long?
Yeah, it's like they sing it and you just press a button and hold it until you're ready to let go of it. No, most trained singers are definitely good enough to do that on their own.
Yeah.
George says Robert Daltrey. Robert Daltrey. Speaking of Daughtry, I think Daughtry is by far one of the best vocalists out there.
Yes.
Does not get the credit that he deserves for being a great vocalist.
He's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Chris that Daughtry. Man can sing. Mm-hmm. And he really doesn't get the credit. He didn't win the Idol. He didn't even win that other one. Is it Masked Singer? He fell short on that as well.
I hate that show. I think that show is stupid.
Well,
stupid.
My wife doesn't like when I watch shows like that, and I point out all the things that aren't real.
Well, it's like, is it Comic-Con? Is
yeah.
that, yeah, it's like Comic-Con, and I just...
Don't do it. Hey, that's a big part of our audience. Don't go insulting them.
No, I'm not insulting them. I'm saying I just can't go there.
And now you're yelling. Oh. I went to a Comic-Con once. I went with a buddy of mine. His son was there, and we went to pick him up, and we went in and walked around. And I had my daughter, Bella, who's now 15. She was probably 3 at the time. And we were walking through, and she thought it was cool that everybody's dressed up. She had no idea why people were dressed up. She thought it was cool.
I bet she loved it.
So we took a picture, and one of the pictures we took was with this bunny, or this rabbit, and it was deranged looking. I mean, it looked like it was going to eat her or kill her or do something.
Like a rabbit.
She was so excited because this was around Easter time. So my wife was posting pictures of the kids with the Easter bunny, and I posted that picture, and all the comments were like, "What is this? What mall was this at? This is just ridiculous." I thought it was
not a mall people. That's funny.
George says, this Roger Daughtry is from The Who. Yes, Roger Daughtry is from The Who. Chris Daughtry is just Chris Daughtry from the band Daughtry.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Eddie says Ronnie Dunn.
Country?
Ronnie Dunn is good. I don't know if he's one of the best in the world, but he's definitely good. I mean, he's a good
Does he sing country?
He's country. Brooks and Dunn.
Oh, yes. Okay. Hello.
Bruce Tarletsky in the house, folks.
Oh, hey, Bruce.
Bruce, sir. Previous guest, amazing songwriter, and part of the Nashville supergroup, the High Mountain Breezes. He says B.J. Thomas. All right. Cindy Says there's too many to list. Well, there wouldn't be too many to list if we went with the rule of the game and said
one.
best of all time. But she says
we
Freddie
broke the
Mercury,
rules.
Chris Cornell.
I had him on my list.
So Freddie Mercury, Chris Cornell, Eddie Vedder, Axl Rose, Dierks Bentley, Neil Young. But I'm loving Zach Bryan right now. Now, it's an eclectic list. I think everybody on that list. Never been the biggest Neil Young fan, but I like everybody on the list. But I don't think they're the best.
So he's censoring it, you guys. He's only going to read the ones that he agrees with.
I just read a whole list of people that I don't even like. I mean, I don't mind him. Freddie Mercury, he's one of the
busting your
best.
chops.
He's one of the best. I'll give him that. Chris Cornell, I liked Chris Cornell, but Eddie Vedder was the next one on her list. I would rather listen to Eddie Vedder than I would Chris Cornell.
Yeah. Well, also when they have that low of a voice, it is kind of like what you said about AC/DC, where it's like they picked a lane and they really stayed in that lane. When you have that low of voice, it's not very dynamic.
Where Axl Rose next on our list, I mean, super high notes, but also low notes.
Yeah.
When he sings the song Patience is pretty low. So, but he can quickly turn it on and move up. And I don't know if you've seen Carrie Underwood playing with Guns N' Roses either, but that's pretty impressive too. She took Axl Rose's place for a period of time and went out with Guns N' Roses. I mean, it's pretty good.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to have to write that down too.
And she
'Cause I
mentions
wanna see
Dierks
that.
Bentley. You know how I feel about him. I like Dierks Bentley, but playing hockey was not. He was the enemy. All right, Kenny. Kenny says Robert Plant. Robert Plant is definitely one of the best of all time. I don't know. He's not my favorite, but he's definitely.
He was on the list where I looked up, but they listed like 50 people.
Kenny also says he likes Chris Cornell. His version of Patience is better. I don't know. It's a tough one. George says Randy Owen of Alabama. Thank you, George. Misty says Bruce Dickinson. Who is Bruce Dickinson?
Me? I thought you were
Tiffany.
asking Misty.
You're fired.
Tiffany.
I thought you were asking Misty, and I was like, thank God Jay doesn't know who it is either.
You know who it is. You just read a story about his plane being cut into keychains. We've talked about him like 60 times on this show. He's the lead singer of Iron Maiden.
That's what I said. Lead singer of Iron Maiden.
That's what you were saying. That makes more sense now. I'm sorry. I thought it said Misty. Misty says Bruce Dickinson. So there you go. Kim says Elvis. Kate Stanton in the house, folks. Kate Stanton says James Keenan. Maynard James Keenan is one of my favorites, she says.
All right. Well, I've been very thankful. Friday night, I was like, I'm going to check out some stand-up comedy on Netflix. So I queued it up, and I was like, who do I want to watch? So I watched one guy, and I was like, nah. So moved on to the next guy, and I was like, maybe. And then I landed, okay? Like when you find that just golden gem on Netflix, and you're like, yes, I'm going to watch the whole series as fast as I can.
These days you find it on TikTok.
That is how I feel about Nate Bargatze. He's also known as the Tennessee Kid
He is. Why is that?
because he's from Nashville.
It wasn't a trick question.
It's a very simple explanation. He's from Nashville. So basically, his face never changes. And I really love that. So it doesn't matter how hard he lays something down. You never know that he's trying to like cue up a joke. Yeah. You never know he's trying to like cue up a bit. Obviously he is because he's on stage, but it was very interesting or very funny to watch him. And so then my husband had been doing some stuff in the kitchen and he was wrapping things up and he came and sat down with me and we just like could not convince ourselves to turn it off. So much so that then we just went into the next one by Nate Bargatze. And we just kept watching it. And I'm such a fan. So then I found out he's actually going to be in Jacksonville at the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena on August 18th. So I looked at tickets. It was like $125 for, it's a fairly large arena, but he has around.
To me
And
that tickets are that expensive. And
No,
that's
no,
low,
no.
but that's still too expensive.
No. The ones that were like, where you could like reach out and touch them, some were $725.
Yeah, if you're going to
Some were
touch them, you got to pay a little bit
$500.
more.
Whoa.
And that's what the girl in the corner tells me.
The lot lizard.
Dude, I have gone through so many truck yards lately, and that's all I could think of now.
So anyways, he was a good find. And I actually found out that he has a podcast. So it's called the Nateland Podcast. Now he's on like episode 246 or something, right? So I noticed that like in the show notes, it'll start to say like Nate's not in this episode, blah, 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 blah. But he also has a co-host. I think Aaron was his name. And it's like, Aaron's not in this episode, blah, 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 blah. So on the cover art, there's 4 guys. So I'm assuming they all take breaks for their gigs. But I'm definitely going to catch
I
a
didn't
couple
know
more
he had
episodes.
a podcast. That's good to know.
I didn't either. So if you guys are looking for some comedy while driving,
He's one
Let me
that
know
if you do catch him on Instagram or TikTok or any of those things, he's very good.
he's so funny. Really loved him. Okay. Comedian Angela Johnson. Did you ever see the skit about the nail salon? She is of some kind of Latin, Spanish, Mexican descent, but she does this imitation of the Taiwanese, or I'm sorry, I don't know what nationality the nail salon people are, but somewhere from Asia.
You're about to cross a line.
No, I'm not, because they are. Like, I can't help it. It's a fact. I'm not being mean to anybody. But so she does this skit where she talks like them, kind of. And the reason why it resonates so much with me is when Hannah was like 4 years old, we went into this nail salon. They're doing her nails, and my daughter has very large blue eyes. And a lot of Asian people have brown eyes. And so it's not something that they see all the time, or they admire the blue eyes or something.
I don't know if I know any Asian person who has blue eyes.
I don't think so, but also I don't want to make any assumptions. Anyways, I've already made too many. And so we were in the salon. They were doing her nails. We were doing like a little pedicure, a little mommy-daughter pedicure, or manicure. And she's doing the nails, and she looks up at Hannah. She looks back down, and she looks up at Hannah, and she looks over at me, and she looks back at Hannah. And then she tells all the girls to come over in whatever her native language is, or whatever the language they all speak. And she's telling them to come over and look, and they're like, look. Don't do it. So they look, then they look at Hannah, and then they look at me, and then they look at me and they go, daddy eye. I was like, thanks a lot, you jerks. Well, what caught my eye about this story was that she was recently in Texas talking about her experience with Buc-ee's. Do you guys have Buc-ee's up in the Ohio, Kentucky area?
There's one that I know of in Kentucky. I
Okay.
drive by on my way to the Smoky Mountains.
Have you been to it?
I have, yes.
Okay, it's an experience, y'all. It's like gas station meets Walmart meets like interior decorating, like Kirkland's or something, right? They have everything there. But what I love, oh my gosh, I didn't even do it on purpose. I have my Buc-ee shirt on.
Dear God, when you start lifting up your shirt, it's like, wait,
They have.
Tiffany goes
Keep your
wild.
shirt on, Tiffany.
Do you remember that? Girls Gone Wild?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
That guy got in so much trouble after a while. Not from the show. I mean, he made a boatload of money, but he got in some serious trouble where he had to leave for a little while.
Okay.
He was back in the news recently as well.
Interesting.
Can I tell you something about
Well,
Buc-ee's?
Yes, please. Oh my God, I love Buc-ee's. When people come down here from any other state, I'm always like, we're going to take you to Buc-ee's. We got to go to Buc-ee's.
Yeah, I
It's like a
get
whole
it.
thing.
It's a gas station. It's a truck stop style gas station.
yes.
Yes, it's a big
But
mecca.
much better.
Big mecca of a gas station for sure. I mean, it's got like 100 pumps, and that's not an exaggeration. I mean, it's got a lot of gas pumps. It's got, they serve food, and they serve good food and all that stuff. I get it.
Yes.
But the couple things I noticed, if you go into the restroom there, it posts the job openings.
Yes.
and how much they pay people.
Yes.
They pay an extreme amount of money for those people to work there. But there was a guy on the news the other day talking about things you can't do if you work at Buc-ee's. Like they said, if you even pick up your phone, you're fired.
Tiffany, you're fired. Goodbye.
They have all sorts of rules. They said if you eat one bite of food and don't pay for it, fired. Now that makes sense. I mean, I get it, but I mean, if you're the cook and you're making the food and you can't taste your work, that would seem wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, that's all. Sorry.
I'm going to accept the interruption. You mentioned comedians on TikTok, and that is where this was posted, was on TikTok, where she was talking about Buc-ee's staples at her meet and greet with the mascot, Bucky the Beaver. Like, I want to meet Bucky the Beaver. I have not met Bucky. Anyway.
I don't want to be around any beaver that's Bucky.
Oh, I have so many things I want to say. Well, just to draw this story out longer, her last comedy special, Say I Won't, is going to be available on YouTube, and she's going to actually be at the Florida Theater this Saturday, which I will be in Daytona, but very exciting. You have the list in front of you, don't you?
I can put it in front of me, but that doesn't make it spontaneous.
Well,
I see you got Jim Gaffigan on your list. I see you got Theo Vaughn. You got Amy Schumer, Sarah Silverman.
ooh, I just like how you say Sarah Silverman because you have the accent. Sarah, I can't do it. You say it
Sarah
again.
Silverman.
Yeah, I love it.
I used to think
Love
she
it.
was very cute
Yeah.
when I thought she was cute. I was living in an apartment above a bakery. If you ever have an apartment, that's the best place to have one. I was
I'll say.
directly above a bakery. But the girl that was above me looked just like Sarah Silverman. However, in my opinion, Sarah Silverman's a little off her rocker. But she's funny, so.
Okay, so she's got good looks. She's funny, but a little. I know you wanted to talk about Theo Vaughn's podcast hits 500 episodes with Joe Rogan.
I just think it's an impressive thing.
Who?
Do you not know Theo Vaughn? Please tell me you know Theo Vaughn.
I'm not going to tell you if I do or don't.
You don't know Theo Vaughn. It's like, I want to
but
reach for
he-
this button over here. There's one of them. Pick one. You want 1, 2, or 3?
3.
Tiffany, you're fired. Goodbye.
Because they all fire me.
They all fire you for sure. Here, you know Theo Vaughn.
Oh, I did look him up, actually, and I don't know him.
Dear God.
Sorry.
You deserve
Sorry.
button 2.
Tiffany, you're fired.
What you really deserve is button 1.
Tiffany, you're fired.
I like that one because there's a little bit of a giggle in the middle.
Yeah.
It's like he's enjoying it.
Okay, can we reread this sentence, though? So his podcast hits 500, or he was on Joe Rogan's 500th
No, his
episode?
podcast. He is right up there when it comes to popularity in podcasts. Joe Rogan is always at the top, but Theo Vaughn is
Got it.
in the top 10 for sure on his podcast.
Okay.
I don't get it. I don't think he's that worthy or that good to me. He's known as being more of the redneck style comedian.
Like Jeff Foxworthy-ish?
Not quite that over the top
Right.
redneck. He's just, you can see in the pictures, he's got the mullet and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's just that type of person.
Okay.
But he's very good. He's funny.
He made, with his mullet, he makes me think of Patrick Swayze from Roadhouse.
He does. That first picture does have that look to him for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, his show's popular. It's very popular. It's an interviews-based show where he gets on there and interviews other comedians for the most part and stuff.
It's
But
so fun.
for him to have 500 episodes is pretty good. It's pretty impressive.
It really is.
And to have Joe Rogan be that number 500 is pretty cool as well.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. It's a pretty big deal. I mean, for Joe Rogan to be any number on your podcast is a big deal. But to make it all the way to 500, it's an accomplishment. It is.
And George says, so it's best for a comedian to be working in a club? Yeah, it's more fun to see a comedian in a club for sure. Although I did say Bert Kreischer could command the audience in a stadium. Super impressive. To have 30+ thousand people in a stadium and to be able to hold their attention and like it was a club, that was awesome.
Yeah, because that could get out of control real fast.
Yeah. No, and he was spot on. And that's one I didn't expect. But Theo Vaughn, he's in that crowd. He does the Bert Kreischer stuff, and he works with them a lot.
Yeah. Well, moving right along, Miss Amy Schumer talks weight loss journey on The View. Schumer credits Mounjaro and claps back at critics.
If we need a sponsor, tonight's show is not
Pepsi
sponsored by, what is it, Chloroseptic. It is not sponsored by Chloroseptic, but if you would like to sponsor our show, that would be nice of you. However, I have a sore throat today, if you can't tell.
I cannot tell.
I woke up with it just today, raw.
Maybe you snored.
That's what my wife says. She says I do. I've never been a snorer, but she says lately I wake up in the middle of the night, like I stop breathing and wake myself up, and I don't know if I believe that, but it might be true. Who knows?
Maybe you have sleep apnea, because I have sleep apnea, and what was happening to me is the hangy ball, the uvula. I would snore and it would get swollen, and then when I would wake up, I would think I had a sore throat, but really it was my uvula was sore because it was rattling like a bell all night long.
Don't be showing us your uvula on the camera. I can breathe through my nose right now, right?
Yeah.
Can breathe,
Yes.
fine.
Yes.
But as soon as I lay down and go to bed tonight, it'll close right up.
Well, that's what's beautiful when you have a CPAP. Even if you have a stuffy nose, when you lay down and put the little CPAP, the little nose pillow in, it just opens everything up and you just go right to night-night land. When I got tested, I had 16 interruptions per hour. And they were like, you are stopping breathing 16 times.
George says if you're going to show us your uvula, he's going to close his eyes again.
I'll show you my shirt, my uvula.
All right, sorry.
Oh my god.
Don't mean to interrupt you with such nonsense.
Well, I was telling a very exciting story.
Tell us
You
a
mentioned Amy Schumer, and so it's not really that great of a story, though, that she's using Mounjaro, whatever, and I guess she's giving it back to people who are judging her. You know, Amy Schumer, do you. Who cares? Just do like Taylor Swift. Shake it off.
They comment on her weight a lot.
All the time. Get over it. Not everybody has perfect genes. Not everybody, you know, sometimes our bodies soar from trauma, or sometimes we're stressed out, or sometimes it's too much cortisol. Think about her life. She's probably not sleeping good. She's traveling all the time. Now she's got a baby. Like, forget about it.
Well, her weight is one that fluctuates.
Yeah.
But then she
Leave her
brings it
alone.
up in her routine a lot.
Yeah.
So she talks about her weight in her routine, so that kind of opens the door for people to make comments as well.
No.
I think she's a very, very funny comedian, but she does some
I think
things
she's
and makes some
hilarious.
comments that are off the wall sometime, and she makes just some extremely
Gets herself in
weird
trouble.
comments. To me, once you jump the shark a little bit on those type of things, then it makes it hard to look at you otherwise. But I still like her. Still one of my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still a fan. I'm still a fan too. Well, I want to tell you guys the April Fool's jokes that I played on my daughter because I was really proud of myself. So I don't do it every year, but the years that I get a wild hair, I'm on it, right? So I researched what I was going to do. My husband makes cake pops for our coffee peddler. And so I said, can you get some Brussels sprouts? And we will dip them like cake pops. And so when Hannah came downstairs, I was like, oh, Dad made a new flavor and he wanted you to try it out. And then he made a couple extra for your friends if you wouldn't mind, you know, giving it to them and seeing what they think. And so she was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. And so she got it out and she went to go take a bite. And she was like, ugh. So we wrapped up the other ones and she swiftly brought them to school, of course. Then I stuffed tissues in the tips of her shoes. So when she went to go put her shoes on, there was like crap in her shoes, you know? So she was pretty pumped about that. Okay, so I thought that like, oh, while I'm doing Hannah's shoes, I'll do Sean's shoes. He had 3 pairs of shoes. He had been wearing dress slacks. So I did it in his 2 dressier pairs of shoes. Then I saw his tennis shoes and I was like, well, he only uses those when he goes running. I was like, I'm not going to put him in there. So that day he gets ready, yesterday he gets ready and he walks out with his tennis shoes. And I was like, oh, you're not going to wear your other shoes? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, you should wear your other shoes though. But he did not. heed my advice. So he goes to work. So then this morning I was like, Hannah, guess what? I was like, I never took the tissue out. We're going to get Dad this morning. Ha! So I'm all excited, waiting for him to put his shoes on. He put his freaking tennis shoes on again. So tomorrow I'm going to shoot some tissues in his tennis shoes because I'm getting this trick pulled, even if it's April 3rd.
26th.
Or 2nd. That's right. I don't care what day it is. I'm doing the prank on him. The third joke I pulled on Hannah was I went to Dunkin'. Of course, I got myself a donut. I got a maple donut. And then I got her a glazed donut because she loves glazed donuts. But I ate my donut, and then I took her donut out, and I put it on a plate in my bedroom so she didn't see it. And when we got home from school, I was like, oh, well, I was out today. I got you a donut. And she's like, oh, okay. And I was hoping she'd open it right away, but she didn't. She went up to her room. She walked around. I don't know what she did. And then she finally came down. And then she opened it, and she looked at me, and she was like, Mom. And I was like, April Fools. So then the last thing that I did is I had bought Pop Rocks to throw in her water bottle. So she's had cheer every night this week. Practice, well, really she's trying out for the high school team. And so when she was getting ready and getting the water bottle ready, I screwed off the cap really quick, but she was just getting her shoes on. I didn't have very much time. So I threw a whole bunch of Pop Rocks in her water bottle, and I twisted the top on again really fast, and then she came in, I was like, doop doo doo. And she was like, what is wrong with my water bottle? Her water bottle sounded like there was fireworks going off inside. And I was afraid that it was going to be too much water for the Pop Rocks and they wouldn't really react. I thought maybe they'd just get submerged and then that it would kind of fall flat.
I'm surprised they still sell those things.
Oh yeah. Five Below. Do you guys have Five Below?
We do, yes.
Yes. So I got my Five Below. And yeah, it was a very eventful day. And then I was sad actually when I was done with the last one because it was so fun just to play all these pranks on her.
All right. Can I tell you some of the ones that happened around my house?
Yes, I'd love to hear them.
My daughter, my 10-year-old, decided she wanted to get in on it. And she took the toilet paper out of the bathroom and left an empty roll and a note on it, and it said, good luck. I don't know.
Dang, I wish I would have done that.
I don't know if she quite understands the concept behind this, but she's 10 years old. My wife goes,
no, she definitely got you. April Fool's.
I thought that was good.
Yeah, she's a girl after my own heart.
But then she came home from
Is
school.
This Lucy?
Yes, Lucy, the 10-year-old.
Yes.
She came home from school. Previous guest, by the way, with one of the highest numbers of downloads. I think she's the third highest. She was the second highest until just recently. Anyway.
Is my number one.
You are by far number one from the bottom. So she came home from school and she had a test, her math test, and she said it got like 1 right out of 10 or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And she made her teacher doctor up a test. And the real one, she got a 10 out of 10. Uh-huh. But she made the teacher doctor one up. So I was like, I love her. That's clever. I said, come on, that is good that she got the teacher in on it.
Yeah.
I didn't do much, but I called the director. I work for the state, and I called the director. And I told her key staff member, her assistant that she relies on. And we're talking. I said, I assume you're calling me because you got the email. She goes, what email? I said, I got your assistant's resignation letter today. I thought that's why you were calling me. And she freaked out. What do you mean? Oh, my God. No. And she was all upset. She goes, you got to be kidding me. I said, April Fools. And then later, the assistant calls me and says, oh, I heard what you did. That was crazy or whatever. She didn't say funny. Yeah. She said crazy or something. And I said, well, after she gave me her 2 weeks notice, I had to do something to get her back. And she freaks out. She goes, oh my God, she did not give her 2 weeks notice.
No,
she
did
I
not.
thought that's why you were calling me. And she was freaking out now. So I got them both with the same stupid joke.
I used to like to call my mom and tell her I was pregnant.
Nice. That's what I used to do too.
Like, no,
I used to
you're
call my
not,
mom and say, hey,
Tiffany.
Mom, I'm pregnant.
I used to do it all the time.
It never went over well.
On Saturday, we're driving down to Daytona. Hannah has another cheer competition with her the extra team, the bonus team, whatever. I'm very excited though because the college teams are going to be there. The college cheerleading stunts are so amazing. I'm very excited. I will say though, at the last competition we went to, I noticed that the high school girls all had like 2-piece cheer uniforms, which that sounds like duh, they're all 2 pieces. But these like show a midriff. And I just feel like, no. Can we just like, there's so much sex thrown at these kids. Can we just cover them up? You're already wearing like as little as possible. Can we just be slightly modest? Like I like Hannah's team wears these little shorts underneath. It's not even like the safe underwear. It's like little shorts. And I'm like, yes, that's what they should be wearing. In middle school, yes. Even in high school. I don't know. We don't need to over-sexualize it. I feel like, of course, they're all having sex because it's thrown in their face all the time. You want to get a mom on this rant.
I'm not thinking about that. I'm not thinking about my daughter's in high school. I do not want to think of my daughter having sex.
No, but I don't like it. What do you have going? Oh, really quick. This is a big thing. Tomorrow, Caden's episode will be live from Memories of the Beat when he talked to me. Oh,
he's not here tonight.
Yes, he's amazing.
Caden, where are you? Why aren't you here?
Where is Caden? So, from the KGC show. And then tomorrow, he's interviewing me for his show.
There you go.
So, it's a very exciting day. April 3rd is going to be more exciting than April 1st. And I'm not sure how that happened, but it's going to be. What do you have going on, Mr. Franzi?
Well, thank you for asking.
I thought you'd never ask.
I went to see Black Hawk this weekend. It was actually a better show than I expected.
I do feel like I know this band.
Black Hawk was probably big in the 90s.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
They're pretty old now. I would say he has to be in his late 70s, the singer. I saw them. It was a small venue.
Every once in a while.
The same venue that I saw Led Zeppelin in.
Oh, yeah.
So
was that Laurie's? No.
No, this is a place called Ludlow Garage. Ludlow Garage. I can only assume used to be a true garage, like a mechanic style garage. And it's the venue that is shaped like an L. So half of the audience is looking this way and half is looking from the other way. You can't see the other half.
It's probably a pretty cool perspective for the singer.
It's got to be weird because the singer is looking out at like a corner of a wall, and half of his audience is to the right and half of his audience is to the left. It's very, very weird. And the audience cannot see each other because it's a true wall between them. So very odd, but it actually sounds pretty good.
Must be working.
It's kind of like in a basement style venue. The only thing I don't like about the venue, I mean, I can deal with the weird wall and all that stuff. That doesn't bother me. But what I don't like is all the seats are at the same level. It's not a large venue, but it's not like stadium seating. There's no real angle. There's a little bit of an angle, but not enough. Like when you sit there, you cannot see the stage. We sat in the back row by the front of house, the engineer, and we could not see without standing up.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you supposed to stand up at a concert?
Okay, let's take that a step further. So you're standing up. If everybody else in front of you is standing up, now you're back to the point of you can't see.
True.
So, I mean, it was tough. I had to do a little bit of a bob and a weave to see the show. But it was good. It was still a good show.
Nice.
It wasn't much of a show as much of it was a listen. Because it's not like they did anything. It was a very small stage, and they were not moving from their portion of the stage.
So you were sitting. That's fine.
So
that's fine then.
But it was good. They sounded good. For being a band of age, they sounded good.
Oh. Very nice.
Dalton Hicks was on the show Monday.
Ooh.
You blew me off for that. I get it. But Dalton Hicks was on the show, and what was really cool about it is this was his very first ever interview.
Oh, wow.
He's got a management team now, and he's got a PR firm, because his career is hitting a point where he's about to take off. So he's doing very well. But before, when he was building that attention and he was traveling the country playing shows out of a car, like 3 or 4 cars with the full band traveling around. They weren't in a bus.
Got
They
it,
weren't in a
okay.
van. They were literally traveling around in their cars. But the person who traveled with him was the photographer. It was this woman, young lady that traveled. She was doing the photography, but she took on the role of basically road manager, the manager at the time. Now that he has a management team, she's not in that role, but she still takes on kind of like that road manager position. But he was talking about her and mentioned her name 3 times because all of a sudden she appeared in the chat. So when she appeared, I was being a wise ass and told her, if you want to come on the show, I'll send you the link. And she said, if Dalton doesn't mind, sure. So he's like, no, please. So she came on. So she took it. She took advantage of jfranzi.com/live.
I wish more
We
people
should
would
probably
do
push
that.
it a little bit harder. But anywho, so she came on and she talked for a little while. We probably went for another half hour just talking to her and seeing her experience with him. So it was a very good time. That episode will be out on Monday. All right, folks. Well, we have done it. We have reached the top of hour number 2, which does mean we have reached the end of the show twice. You can also reach out to both of us over at jfranzi.com, where we will be happy to keep this conversation going. We'll keep it going till 4 a.m. if you want. That's fine with us. So please join us over there if you would. You can also find links to all of our socials. We'll be glad to talk to you there as well. All right, Miss Tiffany, do you have any final words for us?
Yes. The music world is always evolving. So stay curious and keep listening.
I like it. I like what you're doing these days. You are no longer fired.
Thanks.
Tonight.
Means a lot.
Just
Means I get to
one
stick around
more
for
episode.
one more episode.
All right, folks, on that note, have a good night.
Thanks for listening to The Jay Franzi Show. Make sure you visit us at jfranzi.com. Follow, connect, and say hello. This episode has been brought to you by VR Knives, your source for 100% custom knives made by a true rock star. So, if you're in the market for a new piece of art, reach out to VR Knives. 407-421-5528. 407-421-5528.